when we talk about entertainment and the internet, usually it's seen in a very negative light, So I want to probably bring out the positivity in the internet and then the entertainment and probably try to link and bring a whole correlation. I'm not doing it alone, I'm doing it with the internet, of course. So basically, yeah.
Great, great. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the seat and then you take us all along.
Okay, sure. So yeah, before that, if you're listening to us for the first time, like he introduced, this is Tell Me About It with me, Esi K. So first, movies, music, and games, and whatever you have, they sort of give us a lot of benefits as compared to the negatives people try to bring out, you know. And for that, we are always trying to sort of look for endless entertainment. Even way before the internet came, there were still movies, there were still music, and there were still games. But then it's more like it just moved to the internet because of that, basically. So yeah. So the very first benefit I would say, or from the internet, we would get from the internet or the movies. I'm using both words. Is that you can treat yourself to quality free content. When we say quality free content, basically you can watch things for free. Definitely you'd buy bundle, but then you don't need to pay like a certain amount of money to be able to watch something on the internet. You just need your data bundle. You just search. You can just search and then you get a movie to watch on the internet. You don't necessarily need to go and pay like cash. But then there are some sites you need to pay subscriptions monthly for, like Hulu, Netflix, Netflix. There's this other Nigerian one I've forgotten. Yeah, but then there are sites you pay for. So with the one benefit of the internet is that you can treat yourself to quality free music, like content or whatever it is. When you go to YouTube and you want to learn something new, you realize that you would be able to find various and vast information on the internet because it has been made available for us for free. If you do not go to a designing school, you can go to YouTube and learn about something designing, like how to design something. It was through YouTube. Like through YouTube, you can learn Photoshop. Through YouTube, even there's this app Coursera. That is where I learn a lot of things. So the internet has now a place where you don't necessarily need like a formal education, a classroom to be able to get educated about a particular thing. And apart from YouTube, too, we have podcasts. There's the Apple podcast, there's the Google podcast, there's Spotify, which is not yet in Ghana, which is so appalling and annoying. One thing,
Tell me.
when I try to figure out something or when I'm trying to get something new, the first or mostly the information I get is, it's not in Ghana. Like for real. Have you tried trying to find something online and you've been told that you don't have, like, it's not, should I say, accessible in your continent?
Yeah, so like for instance, if you are trying to create a PayPal account,
Oh yes.
surprisingly,
I'm like, PayPal is even not. Sometimes there are some works that I want to do, and I'm like, PayPal is not in Ghana.
Yeah.
Spotify is not in Ghana.
Yeah.
Hulu is not in Ghana. And even sometimes there are some sites that would tell you, okay, available. Viki is a Korean app for movies. It's available in Ghana. But you know that you try watching the movie and they tell you restricted in your area. You try to find information. Like, I'm like, what kind of country are we in that everything is restricted? But anyway, we still get to watch some things for free. We still get information, so it's for free.
and I know you learned a language all by yourself from the internet.
From the
Not going
internet.
to the country or going to any class or it. Really, give us freestyle. I know you learned Korean language all by yourself. Give us a freestyle.
I'm still learning. Like 안녕하세요, 저는 Esi K입니다.
Oh my
Hello,
God.
I am Esi K. 만나서 반갑습니다. Nice to meet you. And then, what do I need to say again? Nothing. I don't think. What again? How do you introduce yourself? 저는 가나 사람입니다. I'm a Ghanaian. I've forgotten how to introduce myself. 대학생입니다. I'm a student. And then what again? In fact, I just don't know how to introduce myself. But then that was done for free. Obviously, I gave my time to it. But then I didn't have to pay like a huge amount. In fact, I didn't pay for anything to learn the language. That alone in itself shows that I've gotten free content.
Yeah.
Imagine, and then someone may say, Yogi, then like someone was like, oh, I'm like, oh, go left, right, reaction or reaction. And then I'm like, okay, yeah. It's a pride on its own that I was able to even get free content. Free content. If you want size to learn languages for free content. Duolingo. What again? In fact, Duolingo just helps with the practice and all that. I learned the guitar too online.
Oh.
So basically, there are so many things online we can learn for entertainment. Because I also did it for fun.
But you know something, Esi. There's something about internet learning. If you're not a person or the type that is kind of self-disciplined, there are some of the things that you find it difficult to learn. The contents, the materials are there, all right. But you start one, second tutorial, the third, and then you realize that you start giving up on it because there's no one checking you.
I don't think it's self-discipline because me, Esi, I'm not self-disciplined.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's just interest. If you have an interest in something, you probably continue. Because I have an interest in script writing, I studied script writing from the web because it was an interest. I'm not self-disciplined. I didn't study it according to. I can reschedule deadlines for like 4 to 5 times before like I finish a course. So I don't think it's like, I think it's an interest. I've been studying Korean for how many years now? 3 years.
Oh, okay.
I can say that I understand almost like 80% of everything people say. But then I'm not able to speak because I'm not in an environment where I speak the language. If I force myself to speak, I can speak. But then I'm not really trying because I'm like, but when someone says something, I can really speak back.
Yeah,
So until there's a conversation, I'm not compelled to really speak the language. So it's the interest. If like the guitar, I'm playing it like just laughs. When a friend suggested she sings and then I play, I'm like, okay. Now I feel like I'm over energized to really practice because I feel like there's something ahead of me. So I think it's basically the interest because I don't have any show to perform, nothing.
You know the reason why I said that? I have internet, free internet at my disposal.
Your interest is not big enough.
Really? I own a guitar for the past 6 years.
I owned the guitar for like three years before I started learning. You need something to hit you. It was a movie I watched.
Okay.
And then I saw the behind the scenes. And then I thought it was, a stunt. Like they've gotten people to replace them. But after I watched the behind the scenes, I realized that they use over 6 to 8 months to practice the guitar to just give me the quality content of the movie. And I was like, these people are actors, they have their careers. Like, what shows I can't do it? So it's more like I just placed myself on the spot. And I learned 2 to 3 chords. I still struggle with some things, but then I feel like I can play the most basic, songs with the A minor. The only bar chord I can play is the F. That one there. Even that one, I struggled for almost a month.
Okay.
So it's because I wasn't consistent. The thing is consistency. But me, I'm not consistent. Like I said, I'll reschedule. I play the flute, but the flute I play, for 3 months, I play and then say I'm for another year or 2. So when I start, it goes back to square one, and so I don't think I was learning the JavaScript and then all that. I've tried to learn so many things, but because my interest holding is not big enough to move on to the next step to complete. Sometimes you need something a bigger picture in front of you for you to know that okay, after this you are going there or something. So you may have free content, but then that thing, no, the end game. If someone wants to be a guitarist, I think the person would have done very well as compared to what I'm doing. But I don't have any aim to be a guitarist, so I'm still here. Korea is a language, so I focus more on the listening. That way I wouldn't have to read subtitles. And I've gotten it. I don't need subtitles to watch a Korean drama. I would understand it. So I think it's all about the aim or the end goal to whatever it is that you are trying to. And then your interest.
I get that.
Because I've been rescheduling, so actually. Only God knows. Yeah. And then another thing too is you can utilize the parents blocking and then web access control.
Okay.
People claim that people watch a lot of things which are not good for their children. Their kids watch things they do not want them to watch, and as such, their children also stay on a very they stay on their phones for a very long time. So the internet is bad and all that. Meanwhile, if you go to your settings, there is a there's a parental control button over there, so
Sure.
you can as well do set it. Me like this, I sometimes set it that I would use this particular app, but then when the message comes for me to stop using the app Netflix, I'll just go back in and I take it off, and then I add like another hour, another two. I wouldn't use WhatsApp for I wouldn't use YouTube, but then at the end of the day, I just stopped using it.
I get that.
But then if it's for your child, for your kid, and then you want to, I feel like we do not explore enough to know the kind of things we have with us, and then we try to bring out or portray the negatives of the internet only. So basically,
Yeah. So
you can use that one too.
you see, you realize that you ask yourself how many parents know about this kind of parental control aspect in terms of the settings on which website you can be prohibited as children to go to, and then it becomes a little bit of a difficulty for parents to be able to do some of those settings. Like for instance, you live in a house where there is free Wi-Fi. You know that there are settings that you can do, some third-party apps that you can also install to.
Did your parents ever just deplug your computer because you were spending too much time on it?
Well, sometimes it happens.
Exactly. So I feel like there are so many ways if you really want to control, you can. I mean, apart from the parental controls, because I'm a communication student, so I believe that communication is always the key in everything. So parents are supposed to communicate with their children for them to know, okay, this and this or that and that. Because sometimes our generation, there's a generational gap between our parents and us. And that also makes it difficult for us to have a conversation or whatever it is. So like you said, my mom this would probably go and go to parental settings only maybe yes, or Pekka just said pick the car for me on your phone or something, you understand? So there's a generational gap. They didn't grow up with the internet. We grew up with the internet, Ziba.
Yeah.
So it depends on the child too to also know that this is this, this is right, this is not right. And that will depend on how the child was brought up or how the parents have spoken to the child about particular issues or whatever it is. So parental control not necessarily on the phone again, but communication as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. I could set parental control for myself, what I said, but me now I will take it off and then continue to watch a movie. You get it?
Okay, so viewers and listeners, we have been we've been on the time with Esi K on the benefits of the internet. Those watching us on YouTube and Facebook, and those who are following us on our website, if you have any comments or questions, you are free to post them, and then we'll share in your thoughts. So it is all about benefits of the internet. We have the internet with us. You pay a little bit of money, and then you have it at your free disposal. So the question is that how is it benefiting our generation? Our parents didn't get it. We have it. How is it benefiting us? And Esi K is just doing all the great deal with us. So Esi, tell us. I want to push it a little bit further. Maybe asking you a question.
Sure.
20 years from now, the way technology is advancing, you know of the 5G coming.
Yeah, we don't have the 5G.
Yeah, we don't have the 5G, but it is already working at some parts of the world.
Oh, yes.
And eventually we are going to move to another generation of the internet, which comes with its internet speed and stuff. 20 years from now, what do you think about the internet and then how it will influence especially the youth that are coming up in terms of their education and entertainment?
Well, taking education, for instance, even the 5G is already not here, but we are doing online studies because of COVID. Even we all have nose masks and all that because of COVID. So imagine if we had 5G, it would be easier. 20 years from now, I think probably in-person education wouldn't be that necessary. You understand? Maybe being in person, going to school physically, wouldn't be necessary. You can be in your house and then you homeschool your child.
Exactly.
And then being in the office presently wouldn't be necessary. If you look at the SDG goals, we have the SDG goals. There's this one that speaks about, oh yes, it's even an assignment I'm working on, industrialization, and then whatever it is. And if you look at the goal now, you notice that they are trying to reach this particular thing by 2030. We wouldn't even have to be there in person. You understand, like to work. So you can be at home working, like what we are doing now because of the COVID.
Sure.
So I feel like with this whole COVID thing, it's more like a practice format for us for like the 20 years to come. Working from the house, going to school from the house. You wouldn't need to be be present to be able to work, school, or whatever it is. And then even it boils down to my next point, which is taking advantage of live chatting. So there are Zoom classes, there's a Google Classroom, there's this one my school is trying to build up. Only God knows where it would go to. Like if you have a platform like that, and then there are so many online platforms. There's Google Meet as well.
Yeah.
So online platforms that you can actually meet people. You don't need to be there physically, but then you can meet them with just your phones, and it becomes like an advantage. I just need to use my lorry fare to buy like a data bundle or something to be able to access the internet, and then it may be lesser than me even picking a car to wherever it is how much place. You understand? So I think the whole thing is everything has an advantage and disadvantage. That is what I believe. So the advantages are there, but I believe it will definitely come with some disadvantages. Because me growing up, I had a human interaction, playing in the sun and everything. I doubt the children coming up had that kind of playing in the sun. Amani Kofi, they didn't have that. They have computer, like phone games.
Yeah.
I played computer games, Hangaroon, Zuma, Ages of Empire, because I like those kind of fighting, like those kind of games. But then they are now playing online games. If you go to Discord, there's I've forgotten some of the games we play. But then now it's online. You have interaction with people whilst you are playing the game. How come I've forgotten this game I play all the time? But then you have like a live interaction with people whilst you are playing the game.
Yeah.
So you realize that things are just like evolving, and then they would be okay with it. But then the issue would be the generational gap. The same with the millennials. I think we'll have to talk about generations.
Okay.
The same way like the millennials, Generation Z, Generation Y, and all those people. The way they think is very different from like the way millennials think is different from the way Generation Z think. You understand?
Yeah.
And then Generation Z, like the late 90s to 2012, they are the Generation Z. The way they think is different from the early 90s. You understand?
Exactly.
So what this person would see as good or bad, this person may see it as normal. So this whole thing, as the internet progresses or whatever it is, you'd notice that the only issue would be acceptance, like accepting this person for who he or she is, or just going along with it. Because Charlie, it is what it is. We know definitely the internet is going to continue to, because there are some countries who already have like the 5G.
Yeah.
We don't have it because of only God knows what. We already don't have access to some sites, some apps, some whatever it is because of only God knows what. So, but then we can take advantage of the live chatting. Right now, I don't need to be in person to probably speak to my grandma. My grandma will probably have her phone. All you need to do is teach her. Green now, and then she knows that if you press the green, I think the only difference would be that the next generation coming, the earlier generation have like knowledge about the internet, so it wouldn't be difficult like how we have seen it, because at least we have a little bit knowledge. So like almost mean better to say a year like because we have like knowledge about it basically.
Exactly.
But I haven't really looked at myself for 20 years now.
As a matter of fact, I have thought about this before, and then I told you I read engineering, so there are times that we forecast the years. In fact,
the years.
I was in level 300 reading digital electronics when we heard about 5G coming to place in the year 2020.
Yeah.
And then I was doing my service when I heard of 5G. I was like, come on, we heard of this 2 years back that 5G is
Five.
coming, and it's supposed to be, as a matter of fact, that is supposed to speed up the internet process, and it's coming with packages of connecting everything, everywhere, and anytime. That's the three packages that the 5G had in terms of its internet connectivity and then the speed and then the service that it renders. So you think about those kind of packages that
Comes with
internet
it.
comes or it comes along with internet and then the influence that it has on us
On us.
as humans. And then you'll be fascinated because for instance now we have buildings that are coming with a whole lot of IoT, and you may enter into a building maybe sometime to come and you wouldn't meet a physical person like we have seen in the science fiction movies.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll see holograms and
Yeah,
talking to them,
yeah.
and
Hello.
it's not far away from us. I believe before 20 years you are going to be seeing some of these things.
You know, I think it's because I'm also in South Korea specifically, if you know, is into like technological stuff. So last year during the whole COVID series, and then they were doing this online thing. There was a concert online, and the concert online, because people couldn't be there in couldn't be there in person. There was a hologram of like the artist, and I was like, okay, you know. And then it wasn't that someone started it, and then it continued, and now almost in all the concerts, if people are not present, you could see like a hologram of them. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It was through South Korean stuff I listened and watched. I got to know about the 5G stuff. So that one there, basically. And then I feel like they are already ahead because they are like a technological stuff. But the thing is, how would we accept it here? Because there's this negative perception we have of the internet. So if we do not clear that, I can be on my phone and then the first thing my dad do, and now get our phone, you know, it's already a negative perception that the phone is no good. So we have to really first clear the perceptions of like the phone before we think of like any other thing. And we are not really addressing that issue, basically, because there are conspiracy theories. Even with the whole COVID thing, there was this conspiracy theory about 5G, and I was like, wow, wonderful, amazing. So that one, dear. And another thing is that the internet helps us share memories. Years ago, you couldn't keep your photos. You took like hard copies. If it got burnt and want to know, ashe egu. But now we're able to have the internet, Google Photos, Microsoft then friend it. I don't know, but whichever way it is, Microsoft has OneDrive. Is it on OneDrive?
Microsoft.
OneDrive is
Yeah.
OneDrive, where you can save your documents, whatever it is. And after so many years, you can go back to them and then you can see that you have your memories with you. So you see, the internet has like a lot of advantages, but then we keep on looking at the disadvantages of the internet. And I feel like the disadvantages are really talked about as compared to the positives. That's why I decided we discuss it today. So there are advantages to using the internet for entertainment purposes. So we have to take advantage of the live chatting, utilize the parental blocking and then the web access control, and then we should treat ourselves with quality and free content. Podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Just laugh. Just be happy. Just don't try to stress yourself. Oh, this is gonna do this. You just allow yourself. That one, dear. Basically, that is it.
But you know something. We're talking about the internet. Usually whenever the topic of internet comes in, I go back into some years, like as if I'm traveling back in time, and then want to consider my life when I wasn't using internet, and then when I started using internet. You realize that during those days when internet wasn't that common, like there was kind of a social life between us. I'm talking in terms of entertainment now. There was that social life between us. I quite remember back at where I was, every evening you see the children from every house gathering, and then we play like parents coming out, children coming
But
out.
after you disperse or after you move out of the house, you do not get in touch with the people because you lose contact with them.
Exactly.
However, the internet has now made it easier, and now you can still get in touch with them. Obviously, you wouldn't get the same reaction or the same relation because people do grow, people do change. Like the 5 years old, like 5 years ago, me isn't the same 5 years now. The only thing that I think remained is me loving Korean style.
Oh.
That hasn't changed.
Okay.
But then, because my mind, like, should I say, matures or whatever it is, I keep on growing as a human. So what you know about me 5 years ago, there may be some changes. You understand? And then I get what you mean. Because years ago, there was this. I also lived in a very should I call it, where your neighbor can come to you and then like. But now I don't think a neighbor can come to me and say something like, "What do you think you're doing? What do you think you're gonna say?" You understand? But earlier, if your neighbor comes to you and then say something, you have to like respect. That's what I'm saying. Everything has an advantage and disadvantage. So despite the fact that we can meet your friends, whatever it is, online after so many years, that's the same way you wouldn't be able to have that kind of interaction with them like you used to. But then you can definitely meet up. I can actually search for some friends. The thing is, the issue is with me is I don't remember names, so I don't think I can actually search for them. Sorry. But then sometimes they may see me on Facebook, and then since I think I still have the image of my child or whatever, they can just send like a friendly request. And I may also see the image of like, oh yeah, you look familiar. I look at the name, and then they just like click. The only difference is, I keep on saying that, you would talk for like 2 to 3 minutes and catch up on like things that have happened for the span of life people weren't together, and after a while you just go dead. Because right now you are not connecting with those people. You are connecting with different people in your circle. So I noticed that your circle of friends really changes as time goes on. The people I used to work with in JHS are different from the people I worked with in SHS because it was a boarding house. There was no phone. So I couldn't keep in touch with my JHS friends.
Yeah.
After SHS too, I kept in touch with like 2 to 3 people because that was it. And then the university too, I met new people. So now the only people I kind of communicate with are the little people like friends I had in like JHS, HSS, like that we could keep in touch. So you understand? If there was no phone, I would have lost my JHS friends, my SHS friends, and I'll probably focus on my university friends, since those are the people I would have met. You realize that that's why our parents, you think they don't have friends. It's not they don't have friends.
They've lost contact.
They've lost contact with their friends.
Oh.
So should they have like a Facebook or whatever it is, like us, they don't necessarily need to talk to them all the time, but once in a while, they can still like rely on people. That's why after they get married or something, you think that they don't have like social life. And if you didn't tell, it's because they don't have really friends. So you realize that they just talk to people they are working with at the moment. So now their colleagues become their friends. You understand?
Yeah.
So I just realized that is it. If they had the internet or whatever it is, they would also have like people, friends, like childhood friends or whatever it is. But they didn't have the chance like us. And they used to write letters. Me, pen pal. I used to have a lot of pen pals way back in JHS. Thankfully, my school allowed it. So like outside, wherever it is. But then because it was pen pal and it wasn't email by then, it was just letters the school post and then gone. I don't even remember my pen pals. If I go through my things, I'll definitely find one of those letters. And I may get the name. But the thing is, I may not get address or anything to.
Yeah.
So now, that pen pal may remember that I had a pen pal in Ghana. Like the same way I also remember I had a pen pal here. But then we've lost touch because there's no. But if I had a phone, or like that, even not there's normal call, I would still be able to communicate, because the internet connects us like all over Asia, Europe, Africa, like all over the world.
Yeah.
It just brings us together. So it's more like we are worlds apart, but then we are still close.
Yeah.
That's how come I have some friends I've not met before, like some internet friends I've not met before, and then they are very like nice to you. you forget that you've not met them before. They are like people you've known for. Even there are some Ghanaians that I haven't met before, but then they're like my very close friends, you know. So basically, the internet, I still go in for the positivity. I see positivity in anything. Positivity.
Okay, that's awesome. So, viewers and listeners, it has still been Esi K on the topic the benefits of the internet. So, Esi, I know you have other things that you want to discuss with us, but I want to chip in with this and then you come in.
Okay.
What do you think about internet and relationships? So, let's say maybe you are a single person.
I am a single person.
You are still a single person. God. Okay. We'll talk about that. Okay, so
That can be a topic on its own.
yeah. So you are a single person, and then you know that a lot of them, especially those who don't have social life as well, they feel lonely, and then the only friends they have are virtual friends on internet.
I just told you I have virtual friends.
So all your friends are virtually virtual.
Luckily, I have school friends like SHS friends. Like I said, like 2 or 3 SHS friends, and then the university. I have like 2 or 3 friends from the university.
So you can actually number your friends.
That is it.
Really?
I can number my friends.
Wow, that's awesome. So I have been thinking about how internet has influenced relationship, not just friendly relationship, but also people who are dating. We hear or we see this kind of internet dating now so common. You've never met a person before. You introduce yourself and then you kind of quote and unquote start dating on the internet.
Well, with me, I'm single, but then
So
I'm very
it's an
archaic.
advertisement actually.
No, I'm
Bluetooth.
adding to it. I'm very, should I say, archaic to the old tradition. I may be to the internet, but then I wouldn't go in for like internet dating.
Oh, okay.
Basically, because I may understand the internet as whatever it is. Oh yeah, and then you may tell me you are dating someone. I'll be like, I may support you. I would definitely support you. But then it wouldn't be something I personally would go in for, like an internet dating. Like I just met you online, and then come on, it can be a fuckard.
The person is nice.
It can, like, we can all be nice on the internet.
Yes.
We can all be nice. It's not all the time I can show my nasty side on the internet. I can probably type something and then you can see that I'm very pissed off. And then I look at it and I'm like, no, it doesn't make sense. And then I can clear it. But if I meet you in person, and I would have said it before, I would have thought of like clearing the whole thing. So you probably have to see me in my natural angry state. And then I can probably be angry and then you notice it and I can actually laugh with the laughing emoji. And I clear the doubt that I'm angry. So it can be a fucker. Like, it can be fake, Charlie. So internet dating is 50-50. People do get married from there.
Yes.
Exactly. So, but then me,
relationship. Okay, so yours is not internet dating.
yes.
But you met a person physically and then probably you enter into a relationship with that person. But you are also the person who is, because for instance,
Everything you do has an impact on you.
Yeah. For instance, maybe all the time you are the kind of person that you chat random people on the internet, social media and stuff, and probably your other partner is not that social person in terms of the internet. The person want to be talking to you face to face or on the phone, like something like that. But you are the person that constantly you're talking to maybe your spouse or your friend, your boyfriend or your girlfriend about, oh, today I made a new friend. You're a lady. Today I made a new friend. He's a guy from so and so and so. He said she come visit, and then so and so, and then you realize that.
Why would you go and visit so and so?
Oh no.
Yeah, I get where you continue.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
And then you realize that anytime you talk to this guy or this lady about it, then it's as if the person becomes somebody. It's the internet giving you that opportunity to do that. So with you, I'm putting this to
So
you.
I'm putting myself in the whole
not
scenario.
as a lawyer, but you have your guy, and your guy constantly kind of, you see that he becomes moody or his mood changes whenever you discuss issues about internet and then your new friends and then your new relationship that you're making on the internet. What would be your advice to that person?
Chagia. Let me speak English. I would basically tell the person that, we are two different entities. We are two different people. And then two different people coming together to like have or make this work. So this is a relationship and communication is the key.
Yeah.
I can't tell you about whatever it is that if I do not trust you about the whatever the people I'm meeting online. It's because I do trust you. But if you do not trust me, then you're just making faces without telling me.
Live on Peny Radio, your number one online Christian radio station. Peny Radio, hope for the hopeless.
But if you do tell me about the whole, okay, you do not like it or whatever, I may try to minimize it. But then I think I'm someone who believes I do not need to change because of someone else. I may minimize it, but I don't think I need to change my attitude, because definitely before you started dating me or we started dating, you knew that this is how I was. So you knew you were up for this. I also knew this is who you were. So I also knew I was up for this. So we just have to meet in the middle. I minimize the way I'm on the web, and then you also try to be on the web or like something, so that we do chat. We go for Zoom dates or like Google Meet dates where we create a scenario wherever it is or whatever it is. That way, the kind of relation you want to have with me, since you know I'm on the internet, you can try that on the internet, and also try the physical way. We meet in the middle. Really? I don't need to change. You don't need to change. We just try to. It's not all the time. Let's say I like Korean series. You can't tell me that because we are going to be in a relationship, I should stop watching Korean series, Charlie. Out of it.
Really?
But then I also like horror movies. Maybe you do not like horror, but then let's say you do like American series or something. I do like it, but let's say it's not that. Let's say I do not like it. I can try watching it if it's necessary. Or you can watch, or you can let's use football. Guys like football, right? So there can be a time you watch football. I watch my own thing. You're right. But when it's time for us to talk, we can talk about something. I can be talking about my Korean series. You can be talking like when I'm done. Hey, today I watched this Korean series. Blah 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 blah. At the end, I'm like, oh, how did your match go? Who won? Maybe Liverpool or whoever. Then I'm like, oh, really? About who played? Like, trying to take interest in just, I don't need to change and try to like football because of, you don't need to change and try to like Korean series.
Sure.
But then we can discuss about these particular things. So we meet in the middle. Communication, meet in the middle. I don't change, you don't change. We just try and put in like an effort. Because definitely issues will come up because they are different. We have different personalities and tastes. But then the internet shouldn't be the reason. Like then, Charlie, out of it.
Okay, so it has been PenyGH, and we're going on a short break. We'll be back.
Yes, so for today's second segment, actually, there's no question. But then I am curious about something. This time, today, the listeners didn't send in any question for the second segment. But then I have a question for the second segment myself, since I am also a curious person. So I'll throw it to you. Please. Why is it that people do have their pets and animals and they try to impose it on people knowing that they live in a compound house?
Is that question meant?
That is my question. Just tell me about it. I'm not answering it myself. I'm the one with the question, so I'm throwing it to you. I want a different perspective on this.
Okay, so it depends on where you are staying. So, for instance, if you are living in an estate, you have pets, you don't usually see the pets loitering around.
It's not. I'm talking about a compound house, not estate.
A compound house. Okay. So obviously, if you are living in a compound house, then you are having compound pets.
compound pets.
Yes, of course.
What compound pets?
So I mean, the pets don't belong to, though you own it, they don't belong to you alone.
So why would you? Yasuma would say, "For pet brave you honum."
Really? I'm a lover of pets.
So
I decide to share a compound with you. Doesn't mean that I should.
Then the pets you have. Okay, I'm not saying you should stop having pets. You can have your pet.
Okay.
But why should the pet you have invade the? Should I call it the privacy of another person who doesn't like pets?
Okay.
How would you say that then?
Oh well, I understand.
Because it's a shared compound, a shared bathhouse, a shared washroom, a shared. Then you know a shared. A shared tap. Then you know a shared. Apart from tap, washroom, what again do people share? Whatever. So there are three of them.
So Esi K is saying this maybe to the viewers. I want you to know Esi K is saying this because of a personal experience. You know?
You see the way I'm battling? Yeah.
A personal experience that she had today. So Esi, you know, you have even limited the whole thing that maybe a compound house.
I'm limiting it to a compound house because I don't want to broaden the whole scope. So let's just use compound house.
Yeah, so if you're talking about dogs, we have cages for dogs and stuff. But like for a cat, which for your scenario, for instance, for a cat, like how are you going to localize a cat? You know, you can contain it in your room for some time, but obviously it sneaks out.
Sell it.
You should sell your pets, really.
You know, it can sneak out, but then I feel like pets should I still listen to their masters, or like they have a relation with their owners. So maybe the owner can probably be here. Definitely they can sneak out, but then to the extent of allowing the pet move out and then stay out for like a very long time at a very open place, that would attract people who may not like pets. That will cause panic attack to people who do not like pets. Do you think that is fair?
No. I see. To be frank with you, I believe if you are to be in the United States or somewhere else, you would have called their control officers to come for that pet.
I think I would have. It scared the shit out of me.
So this is a situation we have in Ghana, in our part of the world.
Honestly, I'm not against it. I know that we are in a country where you can actually see your pets going like wherever. So I psych myself wherever I'm going. Sometimes I can see like a dog probably on this road, and I know another route to my house. I'll definitely take the other route so I don't find myself panicking or anything. I see a cat and I know it's this way, and then if there's another road, I'll just cross the road, and then I know how to like deal with it. But to have a pet in your house, which I know very fine, but for it to invade in a place I least expected, and for it to cause panic, when we are allergic reaction and like, cause my heart, like, I'm laughing now, but in the way the thing was serious. So, what do I tell people? That is my issue. What do we tell people who have pets in compound houses or like very open places? Can't you you don't need to keep them inside, but then you're supposed to, should I say, regulate them? Because I watch a lot of things trying to calm my whole, like, I don't even know what it's called, whole thing against like animals. I watch things and I see how people try to take care of their animals without it invading. Like when people go take their dogs out, look at this American, they hold almost so Ghana coming in I'm crying now on no who say bibi and essay ne kon me person me body ne kwa.
Yeah, it's a public pet.
Well say ejama oni ejama we the share like ni way na hemu even na hemu na motum way fine Ghana so I understand that I won't say like that right now. My own master man say I didn't those kind of animals like in the very like open places, thinking that everyone here is like okay with it. How can they just assume that everyone should be okay with it? What kind of assumption is that? So my question.
It has been with us all this while. It's rather unfortunate you had the experience
No, this is not the first time I've had that experience.
Oh, really?
So I feel like this time around I have to talk about it.
Then it's just like the scripture says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It means you have a bundle of this piling up for today.
Like, it always happens, and then I try to psych myself. Kinshana, it's okay. And I even go ahead to like joke around and then I laugh it off. But then the way, like, sometimes it comes up and then I try to calm myself down. I'm always trying to calm myself down, but I've thought of it. What if the next time I'm not able to calm my anxiety and something happens? Do I have to faint on the floor before you realize that there's something really wrong with this whole thing?
So please, it's just an advice to public.
The public,
Yeah.
yes.
So people like Esi K are a little bit afraid of pets, and then they would want you to control them as much as you can. You don't want to see people freaking out from their compound houses that a dog has chased me or a cat did this to me. No, no,
Yeah,
no,
it's
no.
an African Africa.
You see, so we wouldn't, maybe we'll find another day and then come and digest this whole thing about animals and
I will.
pets.
If I have to psych myself and watch pets videos, I will and come and talk
Yeah,
about
they are beautiful. Personally,
Because
I love dogs a lot. I love
Yeah.
dogs a lot. I quite remember when I was growing up, I trained one dog, Rocky, blessed memory. And I trained it to the point that there are times that I was left alone in the house with nobody. And then I have to play. And the only person or the only being creature available is the dog. So I trained him how to play a football. So I was playing football with that dog every day. I went to high school, came back, and I heard that it was dead. So pets have become part of the human race. But to you, you may have a pet. To others, it is a pest or a rodent.
Nah.
And
That
and,
is-
and that is where controlling it becomes an issue. Unfortunately, our part of the world, we don't see it like that.
Cause I'm not really against this one. My
Yeah.
grandma has a dog, so like I can tolerate it. That's what I'm saying. That it's not that I just have like an anxiety when I just see them without psyching. Because if I'm going out, I know I can see it, so I psych myself very well.
Yeah.
And I know that they are in the house. I can psych, but to find them like at places I least expected, no. Please control your pets. You should know that they are pests to you, like he said, but they are pests to others. Please. Let it as much.
Okay.
Anyway, we are done for the day. Thank you for tuning into TMAI with me and
Sell up. Okay, so viewers, as you know, it has been random talk.
Random
it
Thought.
has been.
Tell me about it.
Maxi will be somewhere shouting at this. And I will tell me about it with Esi K. And AC, want to thank you so much for another awesome moment with you. In fact, I have been observing you from a distance, from the
From
time
a
that I have been here, and then your enthusiasm and then your level of communication is that awesome. PenyGH says kudos and then more power to your elbow.
Thank
so
you.
Our viewers, we say we love you so much, and then we thank you for making time to listen and then watch PenyGH. We have more content for you this year. We are entering into the month of February, a month that is kind of tagged the love month. I hope that you have some wonderful content that you want to be sharing with us within those months. If not, you have to go and then review some of your love stories from your Korean series and then come and share those wonderful love stories with us. So viewers, it has been it has been Esi K, and then it is bye for now. See you same time next week on Tell Me About It. Bye.
Which is the music?